Hi, I'm Brian, and this is Simple Homesteading, and today we're going to be looking at emergency car kits. As we said, we're going to be taking a look at an emergency car kit that I've been building for my boys over the last several months for Christmas. Now, let me give you a couple of qualifiers before we get started. I want you to understand that this is not a bug out bag. Neither is this complete as far as it being exhaustive or thorough to meet every last aspect. It's not complete in the sense that I've left room in it so that each one of my boys can go ahead and customize this a little bit to themselves and to their own situation. And so again, we're not talking about something that's going to meet every single need. Plus, it's not going to have some things in it that maybe a kit such as this, and I'll talk about that in a minute, will have. But again, it's just for them to have in their car in case something happens. And if they get stranded, even for a 24 to 48 hour period, it at least keeps them going until they end up getting rescued or they find some help. And so let's go ahead and get into this and let's take a look and see what we've got. Now this box is specific to my oldest son. They have our two grandchildren, and some of the things that we have in here are specific to them. I've got a son that has just moved down to Texas, and he is in the Air Force. He has a wife, and they don't have any children yet, and I've tried to make a box that was somewhat specific to their situation in Texas. Then I have a son that lives here in the southwest area of Ohio where we're at, and his box is also specific to his situation. Also know that some of the stuff that I've left in here is in its original packaging because I want to allow the boys to customize it, put things where they want, and maybe fit some of the things in the lid here, and again, add some things into the box. So let's go ahead and begin taking some things apart. First, we have here both a fire starter and a compass kit. I found this off of Amazon. When I got this was it was about $10. It's a neat little tool. It has what I think is a fairly good compass in the top, and a better quality one that you usually find on a starter kit. It has a rescue whistle here on the top. Let me go ahead and maybe blow into that and show you what that's like. Again, not the best, but the plastic ones usually aren't that good either. And then it comes apart. You have a ferro rod on the inside, and you've got the ability to strike it with another aspect here in the end, or you can use your knife to get a good spark to start a fire. And then the cap comes off at the end here. And this one came with it. I didn't see it at first when I first bought these, but it comes with just a very little bit of tinder in the front. And again, it just provides you just something to get a fire started if you needed to. So again, kind of a very neat rescue whistle, compass, ferro rod combination. I'll try to give you a link to my on the bottom of this video to take you to this if you would be interested in that. You want to see what that's like, and you can take a peek and see if that's something you would want to buy. Well, we also have a first aid kit. Now again, you're not going to find trauma dressings in here. You're not going to find something to take care of a gunshot wound. You're basically going to find some real basic items to take care of some cuts and bruises and bleeding, but nothing that's life-threatening. I've got some butterfly bandages in here, assorted bandages. I've got Q-tips. I've got some 4x4 sterile dressings. I've got some aspirin, some ibuprofen, and a number of other things. Now, you might notice that you can kind of tell that this maybe came out of a pre-made kit, and it did. I was looking at purchasing these items in bulk and then taking the bulk items and then assembling them into first aid kits. And that might have been good if I was going to build, like, let's say, 10 or 15 different kits. And someday I might do that. But again, I'm just working to get 3 kits out so that I can end up getting these to my boys for Christmas. And I actually was able to buy a pre-made kit and divide that kit up into 3 simple first aid kits for my boys. And it was much cheaper that way. And so I went and did it in that direction. As a side note, I was also able to take the really nice plastic box that this first aid kit came in, and I'm going to end up making that an extra kit that I keep in my car with a little bit more extensive first aid materials. I used to be a full-time paramedic and firefighter for about 12 years, and so really enjoy building my own because this is what I keep in my car right now. And it is not necessarily the most extensive. This is something I would put in my pocket if I went hiking. My wife and I do a lot of hiking, or if I got in a really bad situation. This would at least help sustain me for about a 24-hour period. But again, it's not as thorough as something like this. Well, I also provided some comfort level stuff. I've got just tin cloths. These are Heine wipes. With our 2 grandkids, I'm pretty certain that our daughter-in-law would have a lot of things already with her in the car. But again, not assuming anything, we've put some comfort things in here because if you're going to be stuck somewhere for a couple of days and you're obviously going to have to use the restroom, it would be certainly nice to be able to use something like this rather than having to use leaves or something out in the woods. Also, I've provided something to write with. I've gotten the boys a good Sharpie. And then if you notice, I've wrapped Gorilla Tape around it to provide them some aspect of tape. I've also provided them something to write on, to take notes, to leave notes, to keep track of some things. As I've looked at other videos, this is an incredibly important aspect to have. Again, I'm trying to do things fairly on the cheap, don't have a lot of monies. And so it would be nice to find a military spec notepad that held up in wet weather and you could write on. But at that point in time, I really don't have the money for it, so this will have to do. You'll see in just a moment why I have these. I've got batteries for both AA and AAA if the kids need them. One of the things I have in this kit takes AAA, but I also know that my boys carry things in their car that also take AA. You'll note that I've taped them together like this. You don't want the batteries laying free out in the bag because they can actually discharge themselves if they touch each other or lay up against each other for any extended amount of time the wrong way. So again, you just want to make sure that you keep those taped off, and then I've got them sealed in a bag in case something should go bad and they begin to leak or corrode. This will kind of protect the other things in the box. I've also provided them 25 feet of 550 cord. And if you'll see, I've got these little rubber, I'm not sure what to call them. The ladies put their ponytail up in them. These are great. I like these better than rubber bands. They're a lot more sturdy. And they're really easy to use, and I've just found them to be very helpful. So I've got 4 of those on there. I also have provided them with some zip ties, again with those same ponytail rubber bands, and if they need to use those to hold onto anything or fashion something specific, if they need to use it for building a shelter or something like that, they've got some zip ties. I also have my own fire starter kit. I provided them some tinder. I've got a piece of the fire starters that you usually buy for a campfire or your fireplace, and I've got those in there, as well as the makeup swabs. They're the little round ones that are about 1 inch in diameter, and I've got those soaked in petroleum jelly, and I've got those in there, and they're in their own container also, so they can start a fire, get some heat, sterilize some water, things such as that. And then because heat is so important, I also have included in this one Lifeboat matches, the Strike Anywhere matches, plus I've got a board that you can strike those on, but these are the ones that are to light in a torrential downpour and stay lit for a while and burn for a little bit, so you can hopefully get something started for yourself. I also have a headlamp. this is where those batteries came in. Now, I don't have the batteries in this. We don't want them in there, and we don't want them corroding. Again, a lot of this stuff I've gotten really cheap. I'm kind of a fan of Harbor Freight. I'm not the most giant fan. There's a lot of things that they have that work well, and not only work well, but work very well. And then there's some things that are, for the most part, junk, and I just don't buy them. But things like this are nice to come by. I bought this fairly inexpensive. And you want a source of light, but you want a source of light that will help you keep your hands free. And so I've got this that I've provided for them. I also have a knife. Now, this was a pretty neat find. I got this at Cabela's. We have a Cabela's within 5 minutes of where we live that came up just recently. And they had these knives on clearance, 3 of them. And I got 3 of them for under $9. They were originally a $20 knife. And it's a fixed blade. It's fairly sharp. It's halfway decent steel. And of course, you're going to want a fixed blade to do bayoneting. If you need to cut up any wood, split any wood. Obviously, knife incredibly important. High visibility, being orange. It's got a belt clip on it. And I've heard the saying more than once, a man without a knife is a man without a life. And so it's good to have that. And then finally, or not finally, I've got one more thing. Again, I have a ton of sources for starting fire. And this is not a Bic. I would recommend Bic. But again, I just saw these. This is an impulse buy. I got a nice lighter here. So they've got the matches. They've got the lighter. They've got a ferro rod. They've got some way to keep themselves warm and to start a fire. And then finally, because there's 4 of them in their family, I have 4 nice Mylar thermal rescue blankets. This can be used to either keep them from the weather, to wrap up in, or with the use of the Gorilla tape and some other things, they might be able to form themselves a shelter if they need to. Again, this is not extensive. This kit isn't meant to be a bug out bag. There's obviously some other things that you would suggest that would be good to go in here. And I've kept a lot of extra room in here because, again, I want the boys to be able to customize this. They know their needs better than I do. And so by providing them some room, some extra room, they can then add or take away whatever they want in there. Again, if you like this, and if you like this video, I want to encourage you to subscribe, to like, and in the comments below, make sure that you give some suggestions. Really like to learn from others. I am a novice in a sense in this. There were some things that we did, and we lived in the country for quite a while. I want to encourage you, if you haven't seen our About video yet, that you look at that. But I really love the community that we're in, and can't wait to someday find ourselves living out in the country and being a lot more independent and self-sufficient. But again, I hope that you at least were able to learn one thing in this video and take one thing with you. We just want to continue to always be learners in our life. Again, thanks for watching this. I hope it was an encouragement. And if you like this, again, like and subscribe and share it with a friend. All right, thanks, and you guys have a great day.